Have you ever wondered why the periodic table is called, well, the periodic table? We mentioned this idea of periods being rows or horizontal on the periodic table and vertical columns being called families or groups back in chapter 5. But in chapter 14, we want to come back to this idea of a period and investigate this a little bit more, because a periodic trend can go across a period or horizontal, but a periodic trend can also go vertical on one of those columns or those families or their groups. And so in chapter 14, in this lesson 2 of our periodic table unit, we want to investigate more about this idea of periodic trends. And so after a brief review, we'll spend the time talking about 4 or 5 major trends. We're going to look at the atomic radius and try to figure out first what the radius is, and then how does that trend go. And we're going to look at these trends both vertically and horizontally. We'll move on from the atomic radius to ionic radius. Similar idea, but remember an ion is a charged particle, either gaining or losing electrons, whereas that atom was neutral. So again, we'll look to see how does that ionic radius change as you go across a period or down a family. We'll talk about electrons and this thing called full valence shell. We'll move on to ionization energy, or the energy required to overcome the attraction and actually remove an electron. Once again, we'll look to see how does that work vertically and horizontally, and that will segue into the successive ionization energy. We will wrap things up with a look at electronegativity, which is the tendency of an element to attract electrons. So which ones are going to really want more electrons, thus having a high electronegativity? And again, we'll look at this one both vertically and horizontally. So over the next few days, we're going to be looking at a lot of trends and trying to figure out exactly how this periodic table is organized and how we can use it to our advantage. As always, there are many resources on Edify to help you out. And so we have our notes, our labs, worksheets, answer keys, and additional resources as well. So if you're struggling on a concept or you need to get that worksheet you left at school, make sure you pop on to Edify, and all the resources you need will be right there. So good luck to you as we move through lesson 2 and begin to wrap up our periodic table unit.